In the first phase, before any player owns a monopoly, you should buy every property you land on, with the possible exception of the utilities, as we'll discuss a little bit later, and attempt to make favorable trades with the other players to put you in the best chance possible to be the player to get a monopoly first. During phase 1 of the game, attempt to gain either all 4 railroads or a monopoly within a color group of the first 2 sections of the board. These are the best 5 starting positions in order. Number 1, all 4 railroads. Now, one reason why this is the best starting point is the revenue flow from railroads is much more consistent over time, whereas some of the other properties may have the same or better return on investment. They come with bigger payouts over longer time spans. Owning 3 or 4 railroads can be a cash cow, and it will bring a continuous flow of money that can fund your other monopolies. The second best starting position is the orange color group, which includes St. James, Tennessee, and New York Avenue. The third best starting position includes the light blue color group, Oriental, Vermont, and Connecticut Avenues. The fourth best starting position is the light purple color group, St. Charles, States, and Virginia Avenue. And the fifth best starting position is the dark purple color group, Mediterranean and Baltic. Now, this option gives by far the worst return of the 5 starting positions. In fact, until you get 4 houses, this color group is the worst investment in the game. However, this option does have 2 advantages. First, it is the cheapest of the 5 starting positions, and it only has 2 properties. So owning an entire color group may be easier, especially when you are playing in large games with larger numbers of players. Have you been enjoying the course so far? If so, I'd really appreciate if you would take a moment and leave a review, and then come back and finish the course. In phase 1 of the game, I suggest you do not make a trade unless someone is giving you a monopoly without you giving them one back in return. Your goal here is to be the first and only person on the board with a monopoly. To accomplish this, trade with other players before you'll be trading for a monopoly to attempt to get a monopoly within the first 2 sections of the board. Don't worry if you're trading a more expensive property for a cheaper one, such as trading Boardwalk for Connecticut Avenue. The most important goal is to get a monopoly that you will be able to easily build up to at least 3 houses per property, or, with the exception of the dark purple color group, a hotel. If you land in jail during phase 1 of the game, it's to your advantage to pay the fine and get out of jail as soon as possible. Now, an interesting exception to this rule is if you need St. James or Tennessee Avenues to complete your color group. If that's the case, consider staying in jail and trying to get out by rolling doubles. Doing so can increase your chances of landing on those squares by about 25%. Now let's talk about phase 2 of the game after the first monopoly has been made. Ideally, you are the first player to achieve a monopoly, and it is within the first 2 sections of the board. If this is the case, the best strategy is for you to immediately build 3 houses on each property if your monopoly is the light blue, light purple, or orange color group. If your monopoly is the dark purple color group, then you should build a hotel on each property. And the reason for this is because it's at this level that will provide you the quickest and best return on your investment. Making trades during Phase 2. If you must trade, look to get 2 monopolies for 1 in a trade. If a few players have monopolies and you must make a trade, this is really your only strategy for getting back in the game. For an example, if you can get 2 lesser monopolies on the first 2 sections of the board for the green, giving away the green color group or the blue color group, Boardwalk Park Place, then do it. Especially if you're playing with the finite number of houses and hotels, since it'll be cheaper for you to put them on your less expensive land. And in this way, you are likely to have houses before your opponents will. Here's one of the more interesting parts of Monopoly strategy. If you land in jail after an opponent has a monopoly, then you should remain in jail for as long as possible to avoid additional trips around the board, which may cause you to land on their properties and pay more rent. This is counterintuitive, as everyone has landing in jail as an extremely negative concept. Have you been enjoying the course so far? If so, I'd really appreciate if you would take a moment to leave a review. It really makes a difference. Then come back and finish the rest of the course.